Hello and welcome to every woman out there. We are having a very much of a special edition. My name is Baloyi and I am bringing to you today Nomso Kana, who is an amazing woman that I'm really excited for you to experience today. We are saying choose to challenge in 2021. So I just want you to comment down there to tell me what are you choosing to challenge today. We are excited because I'm going to be hosting Nomso, and I know that she's an amazing woman. I can't wait for you guys to experience who she is. This is going to be a very short edition. There's more of her, and I encourage you to really follow through as soon as you actually are done with this interview, because you are going to be such, she's amazing. Nomso is amazing. So let's get straight to it. Nomso, thank you so much for honoring our invitation and coming in to celebrate International Women's Day with us, with me and everybody else who's watching. And everybody who is watching, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you definitely really enjoy this interview. I know I am gonna enjoy the interview, and I hope you do too. So without wasting time, Nomso, can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you are all about?
Okay. Right, a brief intro about who am I. I like to start off where most cool people start off when they say, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, but I'm one of those things, and hopefully soon to be a mother, and then a friend, and a mentor, and a mentee, and a sponsor to others. But I started off my career in the sciences, of course, because all my life I've been in the sciences. I started off as a medical biology scientist, and then I moved to medical nuclear science, and this is where I worked in the radioisotopes lab, and formally then recognized as a nuclear scientist. But now my life has changed. I lived over and I got into entrepreneurship. I am a broadband infrastructure entrepreneur, specifically looking at internet service as a provision, and also looking at the back end of internet services. So my work is basically to supply the passive and active materials for broadband connectivity, and as well as consultation thereof. I am also part of policy making when it comes to ICT and connecting the unconnected. And I wear so many hats sometimes. I did not forsake my nuclear background, so I'm an activist and also an advocate regarding the use of nuclear in Africa, and also how it should be used in the energy mix so that we have stable electricity in the continent as well as in the country in South Africa. And also I'm such a fan for women that are fighting for gender equality for anyone, in fact. So I'm also in that space. I am in several NPOs where we assist women to be economically active, the girl child, to choose STEM as a subject and to be retained in STEM, where STEM is science, technology, engineering, entrepreneurship, and mathematics. In a nutshell, that is me, and I've sit in a number of advisory. I'm a former 4IR commissioner. Our time has come to an end, and this is the 4IR commission where it provided the blueprint and also strategic direction for the country on how it should participate in this era. And also I sit in the board of CEDA. I have a passion for entrepreneurship development in the full ecosystem of the economy in the country. And just lastly, I am a fan of Star Trek. There you go. That.
Oh my gosh, you have such an amazing CV with you. I really admire your journey. I admire who you are. And I know that there's someone out there who's sitting and thinking, where on earth does she get all this time? Well, I'm not going to ask that today because I know that you are able to do all these things that you've mentioned. And I know that a lot of things that you do are to serve our community, which leads me to the next question. And my next question is around the dream. What kind of dream that you have for our ecosystem, the STEM ecosystem within Africa?
Look, it's a mouthful for me. It was 15 years ago, even more, when UNESCO and some of the UN organ entities declared the Southern Africa as underdeveloped and 63% rural. So that means when that is being done, it means there is just no, infrastructure that can develop and make countries within the Southern Africa to be, first world countries and the likes. So my vision really for STEM, for girls and anyone, in fact, to choose STEM as their first priority when they're studying, is that our challenges and our issues when it comes to development and economic activities require STEM to be our fundamental. It is said that we need, for every 10 people, we need one engineer. And you know how they say also that for every, 15, we need two doctors, all that variation and proportion on certain careers. Currently, in Africa, in South Africa, in the Southern Africa, we, out of 70 people, we are only served by one engineer. So it's quite paramount for STEM to be dominant in our career choices, in our study subjects from a very young age, from starting out in school. People should be encouraged to go into the STEM so that they can pen out their careers, and their careers can contribute towards developing our region, our country, and our continent. I can take the whole day to say about women, because in that 63% classification of Southern Africa, of being rural, there are areas where there are people still living in them. And we know that in rural areas, the most dominant sex is the female. The most dominant gender there is the female, because the males have the privilege and the liberty of moving from the rural areas to the city and get work. And our mothers and our grandmothers and our younger sisters, they remain, because that's a place of residency too. So within that, we still need women to be actively involved in STEM. Now, I'm not calling for our grandmothers to start learning chemistry, physics, and maths. I mean, it can happen if it can be done in such a good way that it's easy to understand. But our issues when it comes to rural development, they still require STEM. We still need engineers. We still need innovative scientists that can build houses that can contain heat or release cooling in summer days and release heat in winter days. And it takes people that can relate from those areas to build such solutions. And women, as we are nourishing species, it is quite easy for us to really be able to give back, because that's our nature, basically.
All right. Thank you so much for that. You've said a mouthful when it comes to the dream that you have. Now this moves me to the next thing. There's a young woman out there who's watching this and is thinking, where do I start? She's mentioned a whole lot of things, from her being involved in being a commissioner, like for 4RR from a governmental point of view, to her being part of the deciding boards in different places. But where do I start? What kind of advice do you give her in that kind of a platform to say, hey, this is your first step, if there is any sort of advice you can actually give?
Yes, and I always get this question, right? I served the very first board that was generating almost 2 billion in revenues in a year. I was 28 when I was serving in there. So what really got me into that space is the, I would call it the the character factor of always being curious, of always asking questions, and following people that are influential, and indirectly getting mentorship from them, and also the fact that, you know, I would volunteer to be in discussions, in forums about policies, and I'll contribute my time, my knowledge, and also I would physically contribute, you know, some resources that I have. So could be resources maybe from my company, or resources that I've gathered in my own research. So those things really put you in a pedestal to say that now when people have positions and they have spaces in boards, they start to think, you know what, I know a certain Nomso is very active, who constantly is there, who's constantly contributing towards something, building something, showcasing something, demonstrating something, going into disadvantaged areas and calling for girls to be in STEM, calling for communities to clean up their areas, calling for science to be used practically. So when you do that, you actually put your name out there, and people know you, people want to be associated with what you do. So they draw you closer to where they are, because they want that same contribution, because they've seen it fulfilling such spaces, they've seen it, you know, just contributing to a bigger dream. And one of the advices I got was that this was I was given by Umam Pumzile Lambo, the executive director of UN Women, and she said to me that, you know, in life, be part of something bigger than you. So if you want to do something, if you want to scale up in life, be part of something bigger than you. You might not be actively involved in it, but be part of it, even if it's indirect. So this is how I've seen that. This is how I have come into such places where, you know, I would get a nomination to be in the 4IR Commission. We were told when we started that there were about 6,700 odd applicants that they had received, and they only chose 33. So I mean, out of that number to that, that's quite big. And I think that's something that I'm really honored to actually being recognized by people to nominate me in such things. And I think that's the first step. Be available, contribute, and put yourself in a pedestal, and really share your knowledge.
So you have had, guys, be available. If there's anything that I've taken from this is constantly putting yourself forward gets people talking about you and speaking about you in rooms even when you are not present. Now, this actually is leading me to the next question that I have. So the theme for this year's International Women's Day is choose to challenge. And I'm wondering, what is it that you are choosing to challenge this year?
Right. That is a great question. At this stage in my career, you know, business is organically growing. And I've seen in the ecosystem where there are a lot of women that are pro women and pro girl child being in the STEM. I think I've come to a point where there are a lot of sisters that are doing incredible work and should be celebrated. I'm choosing to really stand against the stereotype that is always put against women, that we are always against each other's progress. I choose to celebrate women that are building up their communities. So whenever I get a chance, you know, to reach out to someone on social media, I would ask for their numbers and say, you know what, I celebrate what you're doing, and I really think it's great. Let me know how I can assist. In some instances, you know, it could just be that that, you know, that would propel someone to go further. So I choose to celebrate women. I choose to really put them on a pedestal, you know, and recommend some of them in places in where I think they can really contribute well. And also choosing to really go against that stereotype that, we always against each other's progresses. And this is my stand. And obviously, continually to get more girls into STEM, to get more women into tech, and also to speak about opportunities. And this is what I choose to do every time, every day, to actually get more people to be in the STEM spheres. And as they say, send the lift down, send the lift down. And that's an American say, by the way.
Wow. Okay. You are choosing to celebrate women, and I think it's very much fitting for me to actually mention that I choose to celebrate you because you're an amazing, amazing woman. I think I've looked up to you. We've moved from a level of me looking at you as a mentor who I don't even need to talk to every time, to being an accountable partner, to a point of me thinking she's a mother in tag. Like it's just been a whole lot of things as far as I'm concerned. And this Women's Day, I choose to celebrate you because you're amazing. You power. You are everything that every woman and every young woman, or rather like an older woman, however you want to talk about it, can think of. And it's beautiful to watch. We are watching and we are learning and we love it. So thank you so much for also honoring the platform. Is there any parting words that you'd want to leave us with today as a way to celebrate International Women's?
Well, not so much, but to say to everyone who's watching this that there's still an opportunity for you to do what you desire to do. It takes a lot of work, and also it takes a lot of self-believing. You have to believe in yourself, and also you need to get the right people to be with you, to walk with you, and that's important.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you've gotten something out of this. Let me know down below anything that you've gotten out of this conversation. I generally really enjoyed it. I love Nomso and what she stands for. And I hope that you've gotten something, and then you're going to be following in all her social platforms. Where can people find you?
So I am on Facebook. I am on the gram. I am on, well, my handle on Twitter is only Nomso. So I think that's, and then Facebook and Instagram, it's Nomso Kana. So that's quite easy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation. It's been really amazing.